your ship and your planes at the same time anymore.
Yeah. All right. So, like, I've got the Wooster right here. I'm in my rocket planes. Rocket planes are for like Americans and stuff. They're HE or Tiny Tims. I have AP in this. The bad part about the AP is you have to get a pretty well straight broadside hit because basically what's going to happen is I'm going to get high citadels. I'm going to do it on Izmir here, and you got to time it about right. So when I press the button, now my reticle's green. See how he was kind of in an angle? I got 7,200 on him. Okay, but let's see. Okay, so like the Mosca here is straight broad. Well, not quite, but see, I got 13,000 on that. What you're gonna do is you're gonna try to come in from pretty much broadside angles. Okay, with and this is German carriers only, because that's where you're gonna get the maximum amount of damage. As far as the destroyers I can do damage to, but it's real low. 319 hits because it's AP rockets. AP rockets don't do hardly anything to destroyers.
Just a quick note: they will overpin. They will also overpin the bow sections and aft sections of light cruisers in droves. So if you aim ahead of a light cruiser and are aiming specifically for its bow, you will get a lot of overpins and lower damage.
Yep. As far as what I have up now is my torpedo planes. So you have several different options here. You can go in the front, but you're not probably going to get very many hits. You want to come in again from the side, but you can come in from angles. You can come in from almost directly behind the boat at a slight angle to where, like, let me show you here. All right, so like on the Mosca again, I'm going to come in. I'm going to start my tack run. The cone is going to shrink down. Okay. And Mosca did good there as far as a defensive maneuver to turn out and to go with them. Okay. That also sets you up for when you spin back around. He's in the middle of a turn. And I can drop planes. Now, did you see there the spectators have which I don't know if you can see the cone, but if you don't get the cone squeezed down, your torpedoes are going to go out at 3 different angles that are completely wide. So what I'm getting at is if you start to run like way away from the ship, you're going to get your cone to be able to, like, see, I'm starting way out on this Wooster. My cone is shrunk down all the way right now, and I've still got 7 seconds left. Where you're wanting to aim is you don't want to aim right where the ship is. You want to aim in front of the ship. Okay. So I put it about on my screen about half an inch in front of the bow, usually on a ship, depending on the speed. That's going to give you the greatest amount of hits because by the time your torpedoes reach where you drop them, when they reach the ship, they're going to be broadside to the ship. Okay.
Okay.
Right. And I don't know how to
say that last part again. But
now I will add what he was saying. Yeah, secondaries, please, because you're gonna kill poor Zoomer in here with your secondaries alone, Rick Calvin.
Yeah, let me.
So now, as he was saying, with the cone shape of your torpedo bombers and attacking from front and rear, there are some other tactics that you need to be aware of. Sometimes attacking from the front is a good idea. Attacking from the front to keep an enemy bow on or broadside to one of your ships is a bright idea. The enemy may call you stupid, even some of your own teammates may call you stupid, but in the end, you've helped another boat get a broadside citadel on, say, a Moskva or a Grosser Kurfürst. Sometimes when you launch torpedoes, like, say I was attacking this Moskva here, if everybody's spectating me, and I come in, that Moskva knows he's going to take some torpedo hits, especially from me. If I drop these, say, right about here, they're going to chase him. I have given the Moskva almost no option to turn in or out, but he has to continue along a straight path until those torpedoes run out of speed and die. With this, you're essentially chasing him and giving him no option to turn. You can attack from the front or the rear, but it is a situational thing that you must take into account.
Yeah. So when you're and the thing is when you're playing carrier, you know how in randoms there's a lot of people that play just for themselves. Like when you're playing carrier, you're helping everybody on your team out. So you got to have severe map awareness, because, like, say the enemy carrier is going after several ships, okay, or a lone ship. Then you're going to want to drop fighters, which I mean simply like if I want to keep this Wooster spotted, I'm going to okay. Regardless, I have fighter planes. So as soon as I drop my fighter planes, everybody that's in that circle that those planes can see is going to stay lit, especially DDs. Okay, which helps the team keep that, like a DD specifically. It helps them keep it spotted to where your team can shoot that DD. The other thing you can do with torpedoes is in smoke. If you torpedo blindly into smoke, you can dislodge ships from it. You can dislodge ships from behind islands because they're either going to have to move for the torps, and then that brings them out to where they can be shot, or they're going to have to take the torps. The torpedo bomber is probably the most effective tool on an aircraft carrier, in my opinion.
Yes. I will say, anybody who's spectating, I am going to show you something. Are you guys able to see the cone?
No.
Or you're not able to? Okay. So this is something you're going to have to take on a how do I say this?
Faith.
You're going to have to take it on faith, but I'm going to have to try to describe it.
Or look at the Discord.
Or look at the no, yeah, I can't for some reason show my Discord.
Okay.
It's okay, I got you. What you're doing with your torpedo planes? Just walk away.
So, speed and turning does affect your torpedo reticle. So, for instance, if I'm going to drop down on this Moskva, if I don't touch my mouse or my keys, I'm going to flatten out straight. But as soon as I start to turn, my reticle will start to shift, mainly towards the side that I'm going towards first, but it will then slowly start to spread out to the other side. Instead of being a tight reticle, it'll be a fan. Now there are other ones that, like on the British torpedo bombers, once they get put in to where they are, like once it locks down to its narrowest stream, they're going to stay like that. You can left, right, all you want. Those things are going to be locked on, going exactly where you put it. On other aircraft carriers, so the German, the American, and the Japanese, they're going to go all over the place. You can use that to your advantage in certain situations, but that's a more advanced tactic for another day. If you speed up, you will also get a faster reticule lock. If you slow down, you will get a faster reticule lock. It means your fan is going to tighten up quicker. Certain times there's need for speed. Other times you need to be pressing your S button to slow down and use up your engine boost to be able to get that torpedo on target. Does that make sense to everybody? If not, I can explain it again.
I'm good.
Okay.
So, Gladiator, question.
Yeah.
What are the primary targets in first one in random battles? What type of ships would be your first priority? And then talk about your first priority ships in clan battles?
Okay, so in my opinion, like when I'm flying, and it depends on the carrier again, because, think of the FDR. It's going to have phenomenal. It can go through just about any AAA. The Richtofen absolutely hates freaking Hollands, Smalllands, Europeans. I mean, just it's the stronger the AA, the harder time you have. So when you're flying around, you don't want to find groups of ships because your planes are going to die quicker. You're going to want to go more for solo ships. Or if you say you are going to just make one run and then recall your fighters to go back to the plane, then you can go in the AA ships. But generally speaking, you want to kind of find those lone dogs that are just like, for instance, this Yamato out here. Shin's all by himself. He's got lower AA than most ships, so I'm gonna just come in and I'm gonna try to bomb him. And I'm not gonna take a bunch of AA hits, so I can get more than one run off. Also, I have my Discord up, so maybe you guys can see reticles. So that's what I'm looking for when I'm flying. When I'm flying in random battles, and for that matter, clan battles. Clan battles are a little different because you're going to do a lot of spotting as well. So, like, as far as spotting, I mean, what I do the first time I ever take planes out to run is I'll start at one side and I'll just kind of cut across the middle, avoiding AA as I go, and then try to spot as many ships as I can. That gives my team an idea of, okay, this is where these ships are going, so then they can use their tactics to get where they need to go. Okay. So with bombers, like I have, Shin, keep going straight. So with bombers, you're going to want to come in from the front or the back, and like the difference on the Richtofen is your reticle is almost straight down, and I'm going to try to drop my bombs when my crosshairs hit the front or second turret. And see how I got a citadel there? So that's the best angle for bombers, is from front to back, because the way these bombs drop is they're going to drop straight in a line. So if I come,
caveat on that. So after testing for a while, they actually have changed how bombing reticles act now. The bombs actually want to fall more towards the outside. If you want to approach another ship here, Gladiator, while everybody can watch, I'd like you to approach from more of a 15-degree angle off center.
okay, I'll do the best I can.
Yeah, I just say about 15 degrees. It can be 10 to 15 degrees off of bow. That is actually going to line up more bombs for you to hit because they're falling out more towards the center, especially on battleships. It's a useful tool because you want as many hits as possible to get those citadel chances. Sorry, I had to interject. Continue, please.
Oh, you're fine. Which, again, as I'm doing the bombing runs, let me show you this. Okay, if everybody can see my reticle, when you go in for a bombing run, if you move your mouse, your thing's gonna stay wide, right? But if you just kind of just hold it, that's where it's gonna shrink. Especially with torpedoes and stuff. The more you move your mouse as you're going in for the torpedo run, your cone's gonna stay wide. So that's where, when you're starting to line up on a ship, you want to kind of be out away from the ship. Like if I'm going in for this Worcester, I'm already lined up where I want to be here. My reticle's white. Before my reticle reaches the ship, I'm going to press the go button to drop bomb. Okay? And basically what I'm trying to do is get my reticle to turn green as it's going over the front turret. And then that's where I'm going to release my bombs, because a moving ship is going forward, so your bombs are going to end up further. The further back that you release your bombs, Like if you released it on the superstructure instead of the front turret, you're probably either going to miss or you're going to hit the very back of the ship. You just gotta, and it takes a lot of practice. And trust me, I was not very good at carriers for a while. But you know, it's a situation that when you're going in, like I'm going in for a bombing run on the backside of it here. I'm gonna go as I'm coming in from the back. That's where I'm still gonna release on the front turrets because by the time my bombs fall, they're gonna be down in the superstructure. They're gonna be down in where you're gonna get your citadels. Shin said something about doing AA. So, Mosca, turn your AA on real quick. That'd be Zardium. You see how he's got AA going. All right, as I'm flying in, which I only have 3 planes left.
User disconnected.
See all these black clouds? You can fly around these black clouds. You're gonna miss most of it. You're still gonna take shots, but those black clouds, you can actually maneuver your planes around to where you're not taking as much AA damage. Now, if you fly through your entire squadron through black clouds, you're going to take quite a bit of AA damage. Does everybody understand that?
So you want to dodge all the black clouds.
You want to try to avoid the black clouds. I mean, you're going to see some black clouds as you're going in for your run, for your dropping run or whatever. But like if you're flying out, say 5 or 6 kilometers away from the ship and you're lining up for your bombing run, you'll start seeing black clouds. Well, there'll be spaces in between them that you can maneuver your planes through, and that's going to lessen the damage that you take from AA. You guys understand that?
Yeah.
It should also be noted that, if you don't mind me interjecting here, it should also be noted that while you're actually making a bombing run, even if you are seeing black clouds, planes that you're actually controlling take less damage.
Yes,
That is true.
That is correct.
There is
Now,
also
go ahead, Ram.
there is also a very useful tactic. I cannot really show it to you here, but you can try and do a fake out. Everybody knows about their sector reinforcement. You know that by pressing the tilt key and looking at a side of your ship, left or right, you will reinforce automatically the side that is the fire has been selected. Certain ships will do this out of panic and assuming that their AA is going to shoot you down. You can do what is called a fake out. This is approaching a ship from one side and getting them to reinforce their sector. This doesn't work always, but it is helpful. By getting them to reinforce that sector and switching to the weaker side where you can actually physically see less AA coming from is a good way to conserve some of your bombers, especially good for torpedo bombers, not so good for dive bombers or carpet bombers, but also very effective on rocket planes. It helps you conserve a little bit more of your plane's health so you can get more back to your ship.
And
Yeah.
really, can I add one point? Really good against DFAA.
Yes, very good against DFAA. Especially when they do that sector reinforcement, it's going to focus everything on one side of their ship, leaving you free to take a little bit less damage on the other.
Well, what I mean is that you're guaranteed to have one less boost for the remainder of the game.
That too. I have actually done that where I've brought in like a torpedo bomber, and then as soon as I see the sector reinforcement and that DFAA go off, I immediately recall them. Yes, I wasted a little bit of my own time, but in that instance, I know I've now got a 2-minute window on most DFAA that I can attack him without worrying about that. I can bring out something again that I don't have a lot of, like torpedo bombers or dive bombers.
Did you want to expand upon how you recognize from the flat clouds the defensive fire AA and the victory reinforcement?
Yeah. So when you see a ship with DFAA, you can recognize it by the increase of flak salvos. Normally, you'll see 5 to 6 flak bursts.
Yeah.
With a few exceptions, but yeah.
I got
in
it.
the
Sorry,
Worcester?
sorry.
Izmir,
Well,
do you have DFAA on that?
The tracers
Yes.
also go from orange
Okay.
to red.
Okay, turn your DFAA on. I'm gonna come at you from the side here.
Which boat is that?
The
Do you want
Worcester.
me,
Yeah,
do you want me to turn it on when you say so?
Yeah, I
Just go
mean,
ahead and activate it now.
yeah. Go ahead and activate it because I'm right on top of you.
Active.
All right, so he's got. This is why. See all that stuff coming through. I'm trying to get through it, but he's got active. I mean, it's just tearing my planes up. You know what I mean?
You'll notice the tracers and the flak bursts both have red now as well.
Yeah. So I mean, in the ships that have DFAA, they can just shred planes, which is totally fine. That's another reason. Okay, so let's do this. Yamato, Mosca, and Wooster. Go ahead and get right next to each other.
What they're going to be explaining now is the principle of grouped AA. Grouped AA is the bane of all aircraft carriers because I'll try to explain it as best as I possibly can.
And this
One-
is how you guys can avoid it, right?
One ship by itself is 100% AA.
All right, Mosca,
Two sh-
stop where you're at. Okay, so see, there's still a big group here. I'll tell you when I'm starting to take AA. Yamato, Mosca are now. Well, Yamato would be shooting at me. Mosca would be shooting at me. Warhound or Wooster would be. I mean, when you start adding that in to groups like that, that's one of the reasons you want to try to stay away from those groups because they will just, I mean, literally shred every plane in before you can even get a bombing run started.
Yes, this is an exponential modifier. One ship by itself is 100% AA. Two ships is 125. Three ships is a 200%. And once you start getting above that, I think it caps out at a 325% modifier.
Yeah.
There's also a question of optimal distance because the flak clouds are a certain distance from each other.
Yes.
Right.
And that's when you'll notice your planes start falling to pieces because, one ship may have flak that opens up at 7 kilometers. Another one has another one that opens up at 6.5. Another one may only have a 5 kilometer flak gun.
Yeah.
You have to. This is where knowledge of ships comes in very important to the CV because, I can see, let's say, the Yamato, the Worcester, and the Moskva. They're all alone, and I'm the closest thing to it with my planes. I'm not going to touch that with a 20-foot pole because I'm going to lose more planes and cost myself way more in both ammunition and resources spent than I'm ever going to get out of attacking any one of those boats.
So that right there, what I just did there was a perfect example of flying around the flak. The other thing is I have a heel on my planes. So if I hit that, that's going to give me somewhat of an invincibility for a minute to make a bombing run.
Although,
And you can get it done, but it makes it a lot. So I just dropped one bomb, right?
Yeah.
And I come back up, and I have 4 planes left out of the 9. Because 3 disappeared because I bombed, and then 2 of my planes are now, all 3 of my planes are smoking. So that's what we're saying is you want to kind of avoid bigger groups because, I mean, you can't, I couldn't get 2 bombing runs in there because of the AA.
you've also got to think about that health. We call it an invincibility pool. It lasts for 3 seconds maximum. That's it. We can't increase it. It won't decrease past 3. However, when you start adding something like DFAA to the mix, perfect example here, you're going to start to lose planes rapidly. DFAA it kicks the ass of a lot of CVs, especially when they don't expect it.
Yeah. Okay, so since we got 5 minutes left, the other option that you guys have, because a lot of times the CVs are the last boats in the game, CVs have a hardened deck, and I was going to try to drop some bombs on Warhound here. You'll see that they don't do a whole lot of damage, whereas your torpedoes and your rocket planes are going to do a lot better damage.
as far as the Richthofen is concerned.
Yeah.
And that is not a true statement for all aircraft carriers.
Right.
The Japanese have armor-piercing bombs.
Japanese and Germans have armor-piercing bombs, with the exceptions being for the Kaga. It has HE bombs. The Enterprise has AP bombs. The entire
Eric von Loh.
the Eric von Lohart has HE as well, and there's one that has skip bombers, which those are HE bombs that will literally skip across the surface of the water.
Unreleased
Hit you.
yet.
I have not had the opportunity to have a skip bomb carrier yet.
I haven't either.
The first one's coming out next tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The other thing too is that the American, Japanese, and British, the American, German, and British all have armored flight decks at later stages. Your Ranger does not have an armored flight deck. Your Lexington has a semi-armored flight deck. The German and the British are the only two that have an armored flight deck. The entirety of the Japanese line does not have an armored flight deck. They are very easy to pin. Your HE bombers, you're not going to want to drop from as high up on a Japanese as you would an American. You're actually going to want to go closer to their deck, which is pretty hard. I don't know how many of you have experience in CV, but that little blurb they have about, aircraft carriers attacking each other is not a reality unless you're something like the FDR or the Eric von Richthofen.
I was saying Eric Tolkien's pretty good at it.
Yeah, those are the only two exceptions to this rule. Now, somebody was asking about dodging fighters in a CV. That's a tricky one. It requires timing, and you can also do what is called a counter deployment. Come at me, Gladiator. You have a fighter on that?
Of course.
Okay, meet me honorable style near the Yamato. Everybody turn your AA off.
You guys have like 2 minutes.
It shouldn't take more than 30 seconds. All right. So I see my Richthofen buddy here. He's coming right at me. He's going to deploy a fighter now. I see that. I immediately deploy my own. And I boost out of the range. Now I have a fighter icon that says I should have a fighter on me. However, his fighters have now become much more interested in mine. This is one tactic of dodging, because as soon as his fighters have engaged mine, they're going to disappear. They are no longer active. For your own. Hold on.
Real quick, go ahead and drop another. Do you have another set of fighters?
I do.
Go ahead and drop those. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to run through his fighter cloud. If anybody's watching my Discord, see how it says fighters? If I keep flying through that thing, now when it turns red like that and it says just fighters, they're chasing me. And you can see how much damage they do. I mean, they just annihilate. Fortunately, I have more planes than he does, but they're still chasing me. So one of the tactics, if you have fighters and you're near your ships, take it back through your ship's AA, meaning fly over your ships, and they will help eliminate those fighters off of you.
Each one of those fighters,
What's
one
that?
of the pips and the fighters will only take out 2 of your planes.
Here's the thing. A fighter group will only ever take out as many fighters as it has in its group. So if you have something like 6 planes that launch for your fighter patrol, they will take out 6. Sometimes they will damage 6.5, but they will only ever take out 6. That's why something like the FDR, which launches, I think, 8 fighters, if I remember correctly, it's absolutely devastating.
I thought it did double, but that's cool.
Yeah, they will only ever take out as many planes as humanly possible, just the fighters themselves. 90% of the time when you're seeing, us CVs get just absolutely shredded by fighters, it is solely because we're also flying through flak. We're usually in somebody's flak range, or we've taken previous damage. So while they do have a damage value, like let's say, for example, I flew accidentally through a Holland's, good thing that you bring that up, a Holland's AA bubble for just a split second. I've still taken probably anywhere in the neighborhood from 1 to 2,000 damage on the low end. High end, I've probably taken about 3. But my fighters aren't going to be smoking yet. They're probably in the yellow. They may or may not be smoking, which is an indicator to me that I'm going to lose that fighter if I make an attack run with it. There's no question about it.
Yeah.
Half the time when you guys see these fighters just wipe out a squadron, it's either because somebody has specialized in interceptor or gotten the additional fighter, which is doing way more damage than my planes have. But at maximum, your ship fighters and your cap fighters will generally only ever take out as many planes as they have.
Warhound, do you remember what was banned in our clan as far as the tactic that people were using to keep basically their fighters alive or their planes alive?
Oh, that exploit no longer works.
Oh, okay. Well, disregard.
With the skip jumping?
Oh, I'm sorry, Cypher.
It's something about a dive bomber doing a dive early to get in a vulnerability period or something like that?
That was what was called slingshotting. And before, it used to give, when you were in a dive or watching your bombs fall, there was a moment of invincibility. They have since patched that out of the game. It is no longer a way to do that, and it was banned by us as far as a tactic that any aircraft carrier could use, because it was technically an exploit and a cheat.
Yeah. So basically, if you were caught doing that, you were automatically removed from AOD at that point. But like you said, it's not an option anymore.
Now, I do want to cover some other things because there are advanced tactics. I don't know, Hacky, if you want to make that a part 2.
I want to do, if we're going to do advanced tactics, either you guys can do like a division up with people and you guys can work on that on your own side. I want to keep this more of a macro thing than a micro thing.
Okay.
All right, cool. So that was the offensive side. Now, for those of you who have not had practice yet with carriers, I want to have you guys go on the on the alpha side. I'll leave Gladiator there to help you guys with attack runs and stuff. So if you do want to do an attack and actually work, practice with attacking, load up a carrier, and I will put you on to the alpha side. Bravo
User left your
side.
channel.
This is now going to be defense. This is where I get to come in and have some fun. How to dodge stuff. Because let's face it, we all don't like sky cancer. This is the opinion of everyone's existence. You see sky cancer, you want to destroy it.
Real quick, Hacky.
Yeah.
One more thing about offense. So, especially in my torpedo bombers, or not my torpedo bombers, just my regular bombers. One thing that I like to do is when I do activate my reticle on a bombing run, I'll push my S key, which it'll slow your planes down tremendously. That's going to help, especially in your torpedo runs as well. You slow your planes down enough to where your reticle can close, or till your bombing reticle can turn green, and then that gives you a little bit, a second or two more to actually get your aim down and your reticle closed a little bit more. It's just one of those things that I do. I don't know if Warhound does. It helps me get better hits. I also, on my bombers, I will try to get as close to the deck as possible. So that's where you have to practice when you start your bombing run, so that when your planes are almost right over the deck and you have about a second or just barely over a second to release before your planes come out of the dive, you're as close to the deck as possible. That'll give you a lot better hit, because your bombs have a shorter fall time.
That actually is a bad tactic.
Is it?
That is actually a bad tactic because, as I said, they have changed the reticles dramatically.
Yep.
Now, you want to.
Yep.
Hold on.
Sounds good.
Okay. One of the things that they've done is they've changed the bomb throw. It used to be the bombs fell straight down. It is now a matter of fact that the bombs want to fall more towards the outside of the reticle initially, and then straighten out. It is heavily dependent upon RNG. I've had entire reticles over a ship drop low and seen bombs go left and right of the ship and nothing hits. You have to know between each nation what you're hitting, how far to drop, especially for your German ships. Every ship is going to have a different armor layout for the deck and thickness of it. For the American ones or anything that drops HE, you're not as concerned about the deck thickness, but you're more concerned about getting your bombs on target because of the fire chance. They've reduced the fire chance from what it was, where you could light a fire guaranteed every run, to you may get a fire. Essentially is what they're after now, unless you're specifically speccing into that. And that's, again, you're going to hear where you're going to want to drop high, mid, low. Certain ships are just either going to over-penetrate, shatter, etc. That's a little bit more of an advanced tactic, but it's not always a necessity. Now, I know many of you have been in divisions with me, and you've seen me bully the absolute hell out of destroyers. I just know my ships and where to drop them. It's a thing that you're going to have to learn through experience. Something like the Indomitable or any of the British line where they have carpet bombers, those are far easier to do nowadays because you no longer have to be concerned about where you're putting your shots, just about how long it takes from your bombs to fall from your planes to the deck.
And you know, if you want to get practice in on doing this stuff, you can always create your own training room, and you can put X number of ships on the other side, and then you can take your carrier out, and you can either have the ships moving or have them sitting still. The first time I'd have them sitting still just so you can get the basics of aiming down. But that'll help you guys a lot as far as learning how to play your carrier as well. You can turn AA on, AA off. You can also turn main battery on and off in the training rooms, to where that's going to help you guys learn how to drop your bombs, drop your torpedoes, use your rockets in a controlled environment. Because randoms in co-op, even in co-op, I mean, you're still having the enemy move. So if you're trying to learn how to aim, those aren't always the best places to start learning. You know what I mean? So just an idea. All right, Hacky, take it away, man.
Thanks, buddy. All right. Great stuff. All right, first off, Cypher Lash MVK. If you guys want to practice, tell me now so I can put you in.
Cypher, yes.
I'm sorry?
Cypher, yes.
Lash? MVK? MVK? Okay, I guess he's still chilling. All right, I need one more person in a cruiser, please, if they want to practice in a cruiser.
Hey, Gladiator.
Hey, what?
Your stream is just showing the Discord. It's not showing your actual game.
Well,
make sure when you go in the middle, you have to pick the actual game footage as opposed to the tab thing or something like that.
Am I coming through clear?
I'm trying to see if I don't know if it works.
Do you know how, Gladiator?
I do not.
So when you're in the channel at the bottom left corner of your screen, so if you stop right now, you just stop the screen, stop screen sharing, immediately it's going to default to the game you're playing. Then you're just going to click the screen share button to the right. You will begin streaming the game. Do it by screen, there will be no audio. If I need to, I can show you.
I'm trying to figure out. What?
MVK's back.
I'm bored on my Discord. I'll show you.
All right.
About that.
Hack.
MVK, did you want to actually practice how to dodge, or did you want to stand spectator?
I can dodge. That's cool.
You want to practice?
That's fine
All
with
right.
me.
Cool. Hey, thanks, Lash, for staying a spectator. All right, cool. So we got. Can I get one more person in a battleship if they want to actually start dodging in a battleship? And if you are going to be in a battleship, please have your fighter available instead of your spotter plane.
All right. Sub, I'm watching your screen.
Let me know when you're ready, Gladiator.
I'm ready.
All right.
Okay.
So
Okay, if you guys are in Discord, mute your mic, please.
yes, if you're in Discord, mute. All right, this is going to be the defensive side. So you guys in Alpha, you're going to be coming at us as if you're going to try to kill us. The guys in Bravo.
Hold on, Gladiator.
I'm sorry?
No, it's subbies.
Ignore me.
Still got his mic active.
Yeah. Go ahead. I'm.
No, just go.
So the guys in Alpha, the carriers are going to come at us on Bravo, and they're going to try to kill us. So you guys who are practice your runs, practice dodging or whatever. What I'm going to do is I'm going to have you guys go on first a battleship run. So Shin's going to show you guys how to dodge, and I'll talk you through it. And then we're going to go on cruiser cruiser attack runs, so the cruisers can learn how to dodge and when to dodge and stuff. And then we'll go for everyone's favorite destroyers and try to knock them out and have destroyers dodge and stuff. Good. We got Lance. We got Lance. You're in your Shimakaze. Perfect. I need someone with with smoke. So perfect. All right, starting up.
Gladiator, look at your Discord. I can't show it to you, so I sent it to you.
I see it.
You see the icon then in the picture?
Yeah, we'll get it figured out.
Yeah, you just click that button right there, and it'll actually start streaming your game and audio and everything.
All right, we're going to split up everybody into different sections. DDs, I want you guys to go over to the F2 and 3 line. Cruisers, stay where you are, but spread out a little bit. Yami, I want you to go to the far right on the F8, F9 line. Carriers, I want you to spread out a little bit, but stay in the H line. That way we have 4 different places where people can attack. All right?
Okay.
Secondaries on or off?
Right now, everybody have your AA off. Right now, just have it off right now.
Including the enemy CVs.
Yes. We are not going to attack the CVs. Okay, that's not the point of this endeavor right now.
Well, I was more talking about the secondaries for the Indomitable and the Wesser and the Midway here.
Oh, them too.
How do I turn my secondaries off?
P.
P is in Papa.
Oh, okay. Yep, I've got it.
You've got to be in boat mode, though.
I did.
You don't play DD enough, man.
All right, so how to dodge shit. This is going to be fun. All right, so load up whatever. Actually, yeah, perfect. You guys got different stuff. Hey, recall your ships right now. Let's do torpedoes first. So everybody do torpedoes.
Shit. No torps. I'll sit out on this one.
Okay. So guys with the torpedo runs, this is what you guys are going to do. You're going to attack first the Yamato. So how do you dodge torpedoes? If you are in a battleship and you're going to be dodging torpedoes and you see a torpedo coming at you, you got 2 ways. Yeah, love you too, man. You got 2 ways of how to dodge a torpedo. The first way is when you see the torpedo guys, 9 times out of 10 they're going to be coming at you broadside. So what do? Turn into torpedo planes. That way, you have them coming towards you, and you have a better chance of actually slipping between torpedoes' path. All right, so start your run on the Yamato. And have Shin practice dodging.
All right, so if I'm gonna run into Shin here, and he sees me dropping, he needs to start turning right now. Okay. Number one, well, I dropped it. Shit, I dropped it too far out there. Okay, so if he turns in, like if you get, it's kind of like this. If you can, when you see those planes coming in, it'll give a distance. It'll say like 1 point whatever 7 kilometers. It'll say 2 kilometers or whatever. If they're real close to you, you want to turn into those torpedoes, because if the closer they drop the torpedoes to you, the less of the chance they're going to have to arm before they get to your ship. Okay.
Yes.
So basically, what it's going to boil down to is you will actually run over the top of their torpedoes and disable them so that they can't work anymore because they won't have enough time to arm.
Yes, but
that's what he's getting at there.
You have to know your boat, because every battleship, some battleships turn really well. And with battleships, if you slow down, like go to half speed, the quarter speed, and start turning, you'll make a tighter turn, and that makes you turn faster than trying to turn at full speed. It's just like car racing. You never speed into a turn. You brake into the turn, and then when you're at the height of it, then you accelerate out. It's the same principle with boats. Okay? That's the first tactic. The second tactic, before that, know your boat. So if you know that your battleship turns like a pig, then you're gonna need more lead time when you see those torpedo planes coming at you. Okay? So you're gonna have to give yourself enough time to start your turn, and then just trying to counter what the CV is gonna be doing. So that's tactic 1. Tactic 2. This is where your fighter comes in.
Shin, turn right.
When you see, at least for me, I usually don't use my fighter on a battleship unless I see torpedo planes. Why, Hakymu? Easy. Torpedo planes can get 3 salvos off on you. And depending on the CV, they can hurt. And that's not fun. So I usually leave my planes for the torpedo planes, so that when I see a torpedo plane coming at me, when it's about 7 to 6 kilometers out, I launch my planes. Because by the time the planes start doing their bomb run, which is about 3-ish kilometers, 3-ish kilometers plus or minus, your fighters will be out and they will engage the torpedo planes. Now, when the torpedo planes come over, if they're coming left to right, let's say, for instance, let them come, and when they pass you, that's when you activate your focus fire of your AA guns, and focus when they're flying away from you, from whichever direction. That way, you're shooting your maximum AA on their turnaround or try to start their second run. If you have the fighter engaged, your fighters can pretty much shred the rest of the torpedo bombers, and your AA guns, even no matter how good or bad they are, they will take up the slack. And then if the torpedo planes that are left, there probably is only going to be like 1, so it's not going to do as much damage. Does that make sense for you guys?
Yeah.
Sorry, Hack.
No problem.
I kind of drifted into you.
So here's the deal. If you guys just watch if you can spectate Shin or see what Shin's doing, when he turned, he may have only taken one of, like, I dropped 6 at a time. Okay. So and I told him which way to turn, and he turns, And the thing is he's taking a lot. You may only take one torpedo instead of all 6. So you just got to kind of know, this is where map awareness of seeing where the planes are around you, like especially your mini map, like he can see my planes coming at him at this point. Okay, and if I come in at an angle like I am right now, see how he's already starting to turn? Well, that's going to cause me to have to maneuver something different or do another spin around. Okay, now as I'm starting to come in from this angle because he's in the middle of a turn, he's going to start turning towards me, because by the time I get my planes ready to turn, he's taking off. So you see how I dropped 6 there, and he turned in towards the torpedoes. He's going to slip through. He might take one, but okay, no, he's not going to take any. See how he slipped through? Same thing here. If I'm coming in from the behind him, he's going to start turning left, because as I'm coming in, I'm going to try to put him in front of his boat. Now he's going to start turning left. And what's going to happen is he's going to be able to turn out of those, because he's going to get away from the angle of them. Again, he might only take one, but that's a hell of a lot better than taking 6, and he's actually going to miss all of those again because he turned out of them.
Nice, Shin. Good job.
Which,
guys, with battleships, always have your AA on. There is zero reason to have your AA off. Zero.
Yes.
And if you're trying to go dark and run away from somebody, have your AA on, because Sky Cancer will find you, and Sky Cancer will kill you.
I would also like to take that as a note. If you are in a Pan-Asian destroyer...
We're not the destroyers yet.
Oh my god.
We're not the destroyers yet. We'll get the destroyers in a minute.
Okay.
All right, so any questions on battleships and how to dodge and stuff? All right, let's go to bombers. Go to your bombers, you guys, and start hitting the cruisers.
Shin just wants to kill planes. He's taking so many hits.
No,
but he's missed a lot as well. And that's the biggest key is knowing how to counter. Because like I said, if you guys do the turning, you're gonna I'll miss a lot of times, and you're gonna like keep me out of the fight. Not only that, you're also killing my planes at the same time, so that's less that I can send out the next time.
Yeah, with battleships, the one more thing with AA with battleships, with AA guns, you want to keep your AA guns pretty much neutral. The only time you want to not put them neutral and actually point them and focus them, I personally would only do that on torpedo planes, because they have the longest turn radius and they have the longest setup to try to hurt you. So that way, if you focus, it takes a while for them to line up to try to kill you. Whereas bombers and other types of AP planes, things like that, you want to have your AA going even on both sides, because that way it gives the maximum amount of time to hurt the bad guys, or to hurt them. All right? All right. So, cruisers. Cruisers, your number one defense against Sky Cancer is your maneuverability. You have the unique ability to stop on a dime and start on a dime, and you can also turn like the Dickens. And pretty much your AA is just good enough that, depending on the boat, you might be avoided by carriers. At least in my experience, cruisers are usually like the third priority in ships, because they either go after us little DDs or they go after the big boats, and then they start worrying about you guys. So use that to your advantage, you know. Use your maneuverabilities. Now with bombers are a bitch. You're gonna have to pay attention to them. When bombing runs start on their bombing run, essentially, when they start pulling up to try to drop their bombs on you, that's when you want to start turning. either left or right, because you want to screw up their radical as much as possible. And you also want to vary your speed, because that way it's not going to, they're all, like they said in the offensive round, they're trying to get citadels on you. So they're lining up in specific places. So if you turn, varying in your speed and such, you're going to screw up their bombing run. So why don't you give an example there? I'll shift it to you, Warhound and Nova, or Gladiator.
For bombing runs?
Yes, please.
All right, so
you like me to
Izmir
cover?
should be
Guys
turning
dodge.
right now.
Yeah,
Oh,
you can
shit,
tell
I
them when
messed
to
that one up.
dodge, or when the best time is to dodge.
Okay, who is lining up right now? All right.
I missed him.
Novalisk is lining up on Izmir.
Novalisk is lining up on which?
Buffalo, Izmir.
Buffalo. All right. So you are a carpet bomber. So these are carpet bombing planes. Izmir,
Yes.
you're going to want to start your run now. Pick a side, left or right, doesn't matter. Well, you were turning. See how you got hit by all those when you were hesitating on a turn? Let's have him come back and do it again. As soon as he gets about, I'd say about 5k away from you, start turning. Get your ship flat broadside to his incoming bombers as best you can.
Nope, you turned into him.
He actually wound up taking less damage on that one. He got what? How many hits did you get on that one?
So 5 each time, but that one actually took 5 penetrations.
So you took 5 penetrations on that one.
Yep.
You still missed how many?
I think each one of these planes has, I don't know, 6 bombs, so that's 12. And basically hit him with about half.
Yep. So you hit with a little bit less than half. Start trying to turn. There you go. Turn flat broadside to that Wesser. Once you see a bomber come in, carpet bombers are kind of hard to avoid. A carpet bomber, a midway bomber, any bomber that you see, you're going to want to try to throw them off by going flat broadside or playing with your throttle. I've missed shots because people played with their throttle on the way in. I've judged them going about full speed, and they pulled out all of the speed on me.
Especially if they're attacking from behind, cut your speed. Because chances are, if they're attacking you from behind you, they're lining up to lead you.
Yep.
So, with pretty much all the other ones, like when I go in, I'm going to drop 3 bombs. So, like, if I line up on Izmir, I know we're picking on Izmir here. He's in a turn, so I'm trying to get around it. Okay? So if I start my bombing run, see how my... Oh! Jesus Christ. It did not work out like I wanted to.
Oops,
Usually when he turns...
Hey,
I'm
don't shoot at
sorry,
me.
Izmir. That was unintentional.
Bet you won't turn out.
Usually when you turn like that, I'm gonna miss because here, let me do this. Well, Michael's got his AA on, so if I come in from the side, try to bomb Michael from the side.
Had to do a lone flyby for him, man. Rip.
See where my bombs ended up as he's turning? Way out. The thing with mine is they drop in a straight line front to back. Or more or less, from front to back. So if they start turning as soon as I line up, think of it like a clock. If you're at 6 and 12, and that's where your bombs are going to line up and drop, right? Any kind of turning on that, like say the enemy ship is, like Warhound said, broadside. I'm going to have a heck of a lot less chance at hitting if my line is 6 to 12 and your ship is like 2 to 8. You see what I'm saying? Whereas the carpet bombers you can pretty much do from any angle, and you're going to get a hit. You just won't get as many.
Yeah, you want and carpet bombers for the British. they're kind of almost impossible to dodge, except for if you're really good at playing with your throttle. If you can throw the guy off by slowing down, speeding up, slowing down, speeding up, you're gonna make him second guess himself, and 50% of the time he won't land shots.
Their
Or you won't
crux
land
is
as
that their
many.
bombs fall really
Michael,
slow.
you got your AA off?
Yeah.
All right, so I'm going to go in on Michael, and I'll tell you when to start turning. All right, so I'm going to come in front of Michael. I'm going to line up. Start turning. See how he's already turning? Now watch where my bombs drop. See how they almost all completely missed? I just barely caught him on the side. That's what you want to do, is you want to, if you see bombings come in, because 9 times out of 10, most carriers are going to bomb from the front or the back. The exception that I have, I know that coming in from the side on a, what's the German premium tier
Graf
8?
Zeppelin.
Yes. Coming in from the side, I get more Citadels from the side on a Graf Zeppelin than I do any other carrier.
That's because it's designed to do that.
Yes. But generally speaking, if I come in, okay, Michael, I'm going to come in directly from your side. So just keep going straight. And this is kind of the clock face that I'm talking about. When I come in, I'm going to line up. See how the bombs drop on both sides but don't go anywhere near the middle? That's what I was getting at. So as you're turning to either side as they're making their bombing run, you're going to cause them to have a higher miss rate than if you stay straight on. Does everybody understand that? Hacky?
Yeah, I'm listening.
It's all you, buddy.
All right. Thank you. Any questions on cruisers? All right. DDs. All right, DD players, listen up. We are the bane of carriers for 2 reasons. 1, we are the spotters. So 9 times out of 10, we are going to be by ourselves, which means the carrier is going to try to find us. And usually in my experience, especially in randoms, carriers try to find DDs because, well, we're easy targets because we have the least amount of hit points and we have the least amount of armor. However, our strong suit is we're small-ass targets and we are extremely maneuverable. And unless you have an AA boat like a Holland or pretty much any of the Pan-Asian line, the Ostergotland or the, what's the other one?
The Smolin, the
Olin.
Ostergotland, the Olin,
those guys.
Skane.
There's some of the hybrid boats, like the British line, the Daring, Gearing has some good hit too. We are basically going to be, we have to rely on our maneuverability. Now, first, do an attack run on the Shimakaze. Land, start moving. Now, if you got a boat that doesn't have great AA, but just average, so let's say about 50 to 60, and you have a smoke screen, the smoke screen is your friend. However, when you deploy said smoke screen,
turn Lantanek.
You got to slow down because when you use your smoke screen, you can't see the planes and the planes can't see you. But if you're going at full speed and deploying your smoke screen, you're going to outrun your smoke. Now, a good CV player will do exactly what Nova did and drop fighters to identify you. So once you get spotted, you got to get the foobar out of there.
Yeah.
So,
or drop your smoke.
Or drop your smoke to cover up.
And then here's the thing. When you have fighters over the top of you and you're sitting in smoke, turn your AA on because you'll destroy those fighters quicker. Okay. You can be spotted on good carriers. You can be spotted inside of smoke with AA, but it doesn't give an exact point. It gives an approximate location. So, like one of the DDs smoke.
Yes.
That'll be the only one in Shima.
Yeah.
Oh,
Land,
okay. So
start
if he
smoking out.
smokes,
There we
okay.
go.
Let me let him get his. Let's let him get his smoke up, and then go ahead and stop. Turn your AA on. Okay, so I know he's in that inn somewhere. Drop my torpedoes in there. I'm not gonna drop him this time because he's almost dead. But see how it doesn't really give an exact position? This is where a lot of carriers will miss in smoke because they can't give an exact location. As far as an offense for a carrier, if we see a DD in smoke, we may go ahead and just start dropping all kinds of torpedoes crossways, because what we're trying to do at that point is not necessarily to hit the Shimakaze. We're trying to dislodge him from the smoke, because the more torpedoes you send in there, he's got to get out of the way on his own, and it might push him out of the smoke.
The other thing, too, is it also takes away his ability to react because he doesn't see those torpedoes until they're almost on top of him.
Unless he has a friendly ship nearby.
Unless he has a friendly ship nearby, 9 times out of 10, they don't. He's going to have less of a chance to react to your torpedoes, especially on, like, the Midway or the Kaga or anything that drops more than 3 torpedoes. You've increased your chance to hit by a significant amount. The fun thing is, for a carrier, if you drop torpedoes like that, go ahead and look behind your ship or your planes. If you see the torpedo hit, even if it's a single one, it doesn't kill him, use that as a reference point. You know he's somewhere in there, left or right of that position. Then you can narrow down your spread. I usually go with a full spread, meaning I make sure that my reticle will either envelop. Let's say I'm coming out from the front. I'll envelop the front of that smoke screen with torpedoes. Or if I'm going from the side, I want it to have the maximum amount of coverage to try to just nail him somewhere in there. And I will watch that torpedo hit, and then I'll say, okay, he's right there. I need to use that as my point of reference.
Okay, so real quick, what we got? See, he's got his AA on, okay? He's visible at 5 kilometers for me. If he turns his AA off, hang on, we'll go for one of the Hollands here. So Hollands don't have their AA on. So
No,
you see how close I was before? He was at 1.9 kilometers when he finally showed up. I can't get in a bombing run on him for that short of time, and then by the time I get outside of 3 kilometers, he's already disappeared. So now I have to go find him again.
Yeah,
Okay.
before you go on, Gladiator, that leads me to my next tactic. So, land, that was some good dodging. If you have German boats, British boats, and I think some French as well, and some Russians, if you smoked up, activate your hydro. That will at least help you see torpedoes when you're in smoke. So as soon as you pop your smoke, hit your hydro so that you can see at least which direction you're going.
Oh, really?
Yes, because if you stay in the smoke, you can't see them, but they can't see you. But at least if you have your hydro up, you can see if any torpedoes come at you. Now, for the boats that don't have smoke, like us, the Hollands, and any other boats that actually have some good AA, you're going to be the bane of their existence because our AA can pretty much shred their ships. However, it is not invincible because once they come in, you have to do some of the same tactics that you do with battleships and with cruisers. You see torpedo boats, turn into them. If you see bombers or anything like that, dodge. Aha, missed me.
Going in, boss.
All right. So, and also, DDs, keep your AA off because of what Gladiator was saying. That we have a very small window for them to spot us. If our AA starts going off, they can spot us sooner and start their attack run. However, if our AA is off, we can stay stealth. The specialty of DDs is our stealthness. So if we stay stealth, they can't shoot us. And that's a good thing.
Yes. But as I was going to say with the European DDs, as soon as you're spotted, turn that shit back on. I have killed, I can't
Damn
tell
right.
you how many Hollands who have just, for some reason, unbeknownst to me and, only known to their living God, kept their AA off despite the fact that I was in their range.
Yep. The other thing is with the AA being off, Hollands, Smalllands, fast ships, Marseille, or French DDs, if you're avoiding the caps, then you can also sneak up on the carriers at the other end of the map, and you're going to be able to get within torp range without ever being spotted. And then it's going to give me it's got a reticle on mine right now. It's a little yellow triangle that says my ship is spotted because I have something within my detectability range. Well, by the time that's notified, by the time I'm detected, now I'm looking for carriers or looking for shit that's close to my ship, right? It does two things. When you're that close to the carrier, you're taking his planes away from the rest of your team because he's now actively trying to find you to keep from being destroyed. And the other thing is you're close enough to get in torp range and take the carrier out completely. So just a little tactic.
Please, Land, if you have something to add, please. Talk.
So, I'd like to add a few things about, the opening of every game when you have a CV, you have a 1 in 3 chance, roughly, one CV game, of meeting the CV. So there's their angle that you should understand is very favorable to you. And more importantly, there's a range of angles which are completely wrong. You could just look at the mini map and pretend that the Cleveland, which is MVK here, is an island. And
You cut out there, boss.
so as I'm approaching this island, and the red CVs are sending his plane south towards me, this is a good angle to intercept the CV.
Gladiator, I did not shoot.
I know.
So if
That's
Warhammer
hacky.
could not kill me, well, that would be good. And so what I'm saying is that this is a really good angle if the red CVs are coming south. And here's another good. We're about to time out. Okay, well, I can continue this later if needed.
If the game doesn't matter, just keep talking.
Yeah.
Well, no, it's got to be demonstrated. I mean, you got to see it.
Well, one thing that hasn't been mentioned, guys, is when you give out around the Holland or the Smallland, pretty much CV players across the board, unless they're really freaking good, avoid the area. It's because with the Holland and the Smallland, they're equipped. They are AA boats, and they will take out your aircraft. Some are a little harder than others, obviously, aircraft-wise, I mean. But the Holland and the Smallland, especially if you've got a couple of them together, dude, stay away from them.
Go ahead and put me on the other side.
Sorry, or. But there's, you know what? That's pretty much all I got to say.
Yeah, you can switch me back over to Bravo there. That'll help you. If you want.
Observation?
All right, this last one that we're going to do is basically a battle royale. So I'm going to put CVs on both sides. I want to put whatever boat that you want to go. If you want to go offense, then you can go offense to try to hunt the CVs and hunt everyone